Hello and welcome to The Print. I am Neelam Pandey and you're watching The Print Unscripted. We have with us Lok Sabha MP from Srinagar, Aga Syed Ruhullah. Mehdi, welcome to The Print. I would like to begin this interview by asking, something that you have spoken a lot about, Article 370. Many Kashmiris feel that, nothing much has changed on ground despite this rhetoric on Article 370 from all sides.
You said it, and that's true. Despite all the rhetoric that was created around the removal of Article 370, and it was said that the Article 370 was the lone reason for the situation in Kashmir. The militancy was attached to Article 370, which was a false narrative, and the sense of separatism in Kashmir was attached to Article 370, which again was not factual. And after 6-7 years of abrogation of Article 370, it's for everyone to see that Article 370 was something which argued for the merger or the accession of Jammu and Kashmir, or integration of Jammu and Kashmir with the rest of the nation. It was an argument against secessionism or separatism. It was not the argument for secessionism or separatism. We took pride in the fact that the accession to the Union of India gave us certain guarantees and certain protections. Uh, those protections argued for the democratic uh, autonomy and democratic decentralized form of governance that Jammu and Kashmir had, which always was true until Article 2019, when Modi's regime, they started it from 2014, started to create a facade around Article 370, that uh, it is anti-national article. This disintegrates Jammu and Kashmir from the rest of the nation. You can see that the people of Jammu and Kashmir are not happy. The arrangements, constitutional arrangements that we had between Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of the nation had nothing to do with the militancy. Militancy is still, in fact, you have acts of terrorism worse than ever before. And, you may remember Pahalgam, which is
Yes.
One of the worst kind of acts of terrorism. But before Pahalgam, we had these incidents in the regions of Jammu, which we earlier didn't have. Many militancy, violence-related or terrorism-related incidents took place in regions of Jammu, Poonch, which were untouched before the removal of Article 370. And in terms of the democratic expression of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, two elections happened after the abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir. One is the parliamentary election of 2024 and subsequent assembly election. In both elections, people of Jammu and Kashmir gave vote against the abrogation of Article 370. The lone reason and the driving factor of that participation, huge number of unprecedented participation of people in those elections, was their willingness to express their dissent, electoral dissent, democratic, peaceful dissent against the abrogation of Article 370. And these are the facts which speak for themselves, that people of Jammu and Kashmir have not accepted the abrogation of Article 370. They have not accepted the degradation of the constitutional status that the Jammu and Kashmir had. And on the other side, the incidents that keep taking place in Jammu and Kashmir testify the fact that militancy or terrorism had nothing to do with Article 370. If anything, Article 370 was the argument against secessionism or terrorism.
Right. You have also personally been targeting the Chief Minister Omar Abdullah over Article 370. The Supreme Court has, in a way, cleared it. What exactly, as the Chief Minister, can he do? Because, this is something which is the prerogative of the center.
See, I don't want this interview to be repetitive of the things that I have already said. There's nothing new, and I have nothing in person against anyone. I have not spoken personally against anyone. I talk about the policies and the approach towards the agenda and the policies of my organization, National Conference, and the implementation of the promises. And the most important promise among the other promises that we gave to the people during these two elections were that we will fight actively against the abrogation of Article 370, and we'll fight for the restoration of Article 370 and fight for it very actively, and this will be the core agenda. We didn't specify, or we didn't base our political campaigning on the promises for routine and normal governance. We said that anyone who talks about the routine governance in these situations is speaking for BJP and is taking BJP's line, because they want to legitimize and normalize the new normal and the degraded status. We didn't want the status quo to be legitimized and normalized, and that's why we call the other political players in Jammu and Kashmir those days that they are acting at the behest of BJP, because they want to normalize the status quo. We said that we'll challenge the status quo actively. And for the last 1.5 years, after our election in the Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, I think that we didn't fight institutionally enough to qualify for the implementation of the promises, or qualify for the fight back, as we would want to call it, institutional fight back against the abrogation of Article 370. I had expectations. Number one, we'll have intention, and we'll make a roadmap. I, as an individual, do have a roadmap for how to go for the restoration of the rights and the protections.
What is that roadmap?
The problem is that the willingness and the intent in my own organization, which helps the government at the same time, is missing. If the intent and the willingness was visible there, I could have then deliberated. I get cornered, or I get attacked for saying that I want my party to deliver upon the promises. My party never approached me asking me, what is the roadmap? How do you want us, or how should we fight, and what kind of roadmap should we make, which should satisfy the people and satisfy the need for the fight back. Had they asked me, I would have come back with the answers, or we could have sat down and formed a roadmap. I don't see any seriousness. Well, as you asked, I will not go into details. In the first place, I have spoken about it. We have many like-minded parties in the whole of the nation. India is not all about BJP. India is, there are sections in southern India, there are sections in eastern part of India. There are forces which are, in terms of numbers, more stronger than us in the parliament, and they aspire for the protections for their states, and they aspire for more decentralized form of governance. They aspire for federation, more powerful states, and limited powers for center. If you translate that in constitutional language, that amounts to what we had in 370. We could sit with them, and we could talk about federalism and federation, and for the protections for the state, not specific to Jammu and Kashmir, but for all the states that aspire for this, that feel the need for their protection in terms of their language, their culture, their policy making, their identity. Subnationalism is not unique to Jammu and Kashmir, as I feel. This aspiration, this urge to have that protection for that subnationalism, and to have that subnationalist identity, is everywhere. I have said it, and I'll repeat. Mr. Stalin went to the extent, and once he felt that there's an onslaught from the central government, he went to the extent that we want autonomy. So roadmap is the road for the roadmap, or the door for the roadmap opens there. We could sit with the like-minded parties. We could rephrase the protections that we had. We could find ways by not talking in specific to Jammu and Kashmir. We could talk in general, taking those like-minded parties as our allies for a common cause, which translates into more powerful states, more protected states, which translates into federation. There are many ways, and in the Indian politics, through which you can navigate and get back the protections and rights that we had. We may convince the other side that 370 is the way. Other side may convince us that something beyond 370, which covers whatever protections we had in 370, including the protections and the rights that we had, something beyond 370 can be the way. and which would be acceptable not only to the people of Jammu and Kashmir but many people, many states throughout India. So there is always a way, but I don't see any intent.
But why have you not reached out to your own party members?
I have
It's
spoken
your
about it,
party.
as I said. I have spoken about it many times. I have spoken about it in person. I have spoken about it in the formal interactions, but I didn't see the intention or the will, and ultimately it resulted into that I was not invited to the formal meeting, which takes place in shape of working committee, a very important forum of our party. Last working committee happened, and I was not invited in that meeting. So this kind of deliberation and conversation is not, I feel, is not welcome in the current situation in my party.
But many also point out that you have also taken certain steps, like you decided not to sort of campaign in the Budgam assembly elections.
I said, I gave the reason for that. It's not,
And we saw the results.
well, that's for everyone to see. It's not that I had to score certain points, individual points, or something was not given to me out of personal grudge. I didn't go for the campaigning. I said that the reason is that it's been only 1 year that we went to the same people promising certain things. We have delivered very less on those promises. We have not delivered on our political agenda. We have not delivered upon certain points of routine governance, which are very important. One example is the reservation and other things. It's been only 1 year, and how do you expect me to go again to the people who trusted us a year ago, trusted us with a huge mandate, a respectable mandate? We have not delivered upon that mandate. I'll go tomorrow again. Okay, fine. I'll go to the people again. They'll ask me questions. What have you delivered upon? What have you done regarding the political agenda and the other promises that we made? What answer do we have? Instead of giving me the answers, or sitting, instead of giving me the reason why and how should we address these issues, I was again that I was marginalized, and I was not consulted. So this is how the things work at the moment. If they do not feel the need to address the issues, the reason was not addressed, the issue was not addressed. For me, the principle and the consciousness is paramount. I went to the election in 2024 for my own parliamentary election. Among the people, I went and campaigned for my colleagues in the assembly elections on the basis of principles, and the same principles forced me to ask these questions. And once I didn't have, because I didn't have those answers, I decided not to go for the campaigning.
But what does it mean for your own political journey? You said you were not invited for that important meeting. What does it mean for you, your political future?
That's not important. My own individual political journey is not important. The thing which I think is important is the trust that the people of Jammu and Kashmir gave to us in 2024 and in the last assembly elections. We have to value that trust. We cannot afford to betray the people of Jammu and Kashmir once again, and after the abrogation of 370 in particular. People of Jammu and Kashmir, in response to the abrogation of Article 370, placed their trust, and which is unprecedented, placed their trust once again, and I think for one final time, in the mainstream politics of Jammu and Kashmir. And if this mainstream quote unquote mainstream politics of Jammu and Kashmir does not answer that trust, and does not value that trust will be gone forever, and that will create a vacuum which will be very difficult for us to fill, and that vacuum can be filled by the forces which we may not like. So therefore, it's not about me. It's about the people of Jammu and Kashmir and their trust. It's about the principles on which I have shaped my politics on. So if these principles, if this conviction takes me to isolation, I don't care. But if that trust is valued and those principles are held, I would think I would be satisfied with myself.
Do you think then people might even look for an alternative?
As I said, because people think if in the future, as I'm afraid they might think that their trust is not valued, their mandate is not respected, they may look for the alternatives.
Right. Many also argue that Omar Abdullah is the chief minister, and apart from Article 370 and statehood, there were other promises that were also made and which were related to development. So, what is wrong if a chief minister is in a way collaborating with the center, with the prime minister, to ensure that work gets done on ground, that Kashmiris don't suffer? What other alternative does he have?
Well, we should have said that in the election campaigning in the first place, if that was the case, if we believed in that. That's what we should have told the people of Jammu and Kashmir and let them decide on that basis. We told the people of Jammu and Kashmir, whosoever talks about the collaboration with BJP government in the center to get more funds and to operate or to run a routine governance is BJP's agent or is speaking for BJP. He is trying to normalize the new status quo. He is trying to justify and legitimize the new status quo. Our job at the moment is to challenge the status quo. So there were forces in Jammu and Kashmir, there were parties whom my political organization called proxies of BJP. Why? Why were they proxies? Because they said, forget about what happened with us. That may never come, or that may be very hard to reclaim. But let's talk about routine governance. We'll have good working relationship with the BJP at the center or with the central government. We'll get more funds. We'll run a very good routine government. So we call them proxies. Proxies who want to, in the name of funds and more funds and flow of funds, want to legitimize the status quo. If today we believe that is the way to go, then at that time those political parties were not the proxies then. They were not the political agents of BJP then. They were right then. And if you want to have a good relationship, cozy up with BJP to facilitate the functioning of the routine governance in Jammu and Kashmir or to get more funds, we should have made ways open for BJP to win the elections in Jammu and Kashmir. They could facilitate or they could make sure that the Jammu and Kashmir government runs very smooth and good amount of funds in its hands. If it was about the restoration of statehood only, we should have made ways open for BJP to make the government in Jammu and Kashmir. They could have and they would have restored statehood if they had their own government in Jammu and Kashmir. But we do not believe in that. We believe in the fact that if we stop a political fight at the restoration of restoration of statehood only, if we stop our fight or turn our agenda into routine governance, that amounts to legitimizing the status quo, and that's not our mandate. Our mandate is to challenge the status quo. And for the functioning of the government, I have a larger question. There are certain states which may not have a good relationship with the BJP central government on the basis of the ideology and the principles. But that does not mean the constitution would allow BJP government at the center to choke the funding for the states. There are states who are still fighting and putting their routine governance at stake, such as Tamil Nadu, such as Bengal, such as southern states, many other states. They are fighting the central government, and the constitution allows for the states to function normally while having its ideological fight with the central government, whoever the central government may be. So this talk of statehood, restoration of statehood, or getting more funds in return of having cozy relationship or easing up with BJP amounts to, in my understanding, amounts to surrendering the political agenda and the political mandate of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and that's a betrayal to the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
Do you think Article 370 will ever, make its way back?
It has to. If the Union of India wants an integrated people of Jammu and Kashmir with the rest of the nation by conviction, the Article 370 or the protections of Article 370 that the state of Jammu and Kashmir had has to return.
I was listening to one of the speeches that you made in Lok Sabha where you questioned the selective, demolition of houses that belong to Muslims. And this also happened post the Lal Killa, terror attack.
I mean, there's a collective punishment happening from Kashmir to Kanyakumari of Muslims. Whenever incidents take place of criminal act, such as in UP, and whenever incidents of terrorist act take place, wherever they take place, for instance in Pahalgam, for instance in Delhi, in response you see a collective punishment of Muslims. Houses are blown up. I mean, after Pahalgam, more than 12 houses were blown up on the basis of suspicion that the one among the family of those houses, one member of those families, maybe there was no, judgment of the court, no conviction by the judiciary, no case run. On the basis of suspicion, they may be the suspects, and they blew the houses, they blasted the houses. Even if a member of those families was involved in that crime, heinous crime, our justice system calls for the punishment for that individual, not for the families, not for the extended families, not for the neighbors. Blowing up of more than a dozen houses amounts to collective punishment. Arresting more than 2,000 people on the basis of suspicion amounts to collective punishment. And you see the same happening in UP. Houses are bulldozed. You saw that in Jammu as well very recently, and in Gandarbal of Kashmir. Houses are bulldozed, extrajudicial activities are carried out against Muslims, and this calls for, this amounts to the collective punishment, and we see that as a routine now in this country.
Another controversy that has sort of divided people, the views that I have looked at is the, Bihar Chief Minister pulling the hijab from a woman's face, while many pointed out that, in a place or in a society where women are as equal to men, there's no need for this. There were others who criticized him, and he asked for him to apologize. How do you look at this entire incident, because it has been talked a lot about?
How do I look at it? It is, I'm afraid, how the RSS and BJP wants the new India to be like. And it's becoming normal. Yes, there have been tweets, there have been statements, but there has been no active response from any section of the society. I'm not talking about Muslims in particular. There are right-thinking people who are in majority in this country, but there has been no active response. Yes, there have been statements, there have been expressions online, but it has been made normal now. And worse than that is that it was celebrated by the sections of society, particular sections of society in this country. There were people who spoke for it, who celebrated it.
Including Muslims?
Few Muslims, yeah, I agree with that. Those who ally with the ideology of RSS and BJP for their own benefits, yes, including them. And worse than that, you saw a parliamentarian celebrating it to the extent calling that victim to go to hell.
You're talking about Giriraj Singh?
Giriraj Singh. And he could say that in open with immunity, knowing that it's a normal. Not only it's a normal, that it's celebrated. You will get votes for this. You will get appreciation for this. You will be recognized for this. So unfortunately, that's how this India has turned into, and that's how BJP and RSS wants this India to look like.
You also mentioned, while talking, you were talking about this isolation that you have been facing within the party. how do you describe it? I mean, has it been going on for a while? Have you shared it with anybody? What about Mr. Farooq Abdullah? Have you discussed it with him? Because NC leadership also feels that you are a strong person, and if you have certain views, then within the party itself, it should be discussed first.
I don't think party wants to discuss these issues. They have decided a line and they want to take that line. Anything that reminds of them of anything outside that line is an irritant, and I feel that I'm treated as an irritant in the party. Dr. Saab, I have huge respect for him, but his age and his health, I would not want to stress him with these issues. Yes, if he calls me, if he talks with me about these issues, I'll be more than happy to discuss these issues with him. But beyond that, the party, as I felt, feels that it's an irritation, and I'm an irritant. They want to take that line, which we campaigned against in the elections. They want to take the exact opposite of what we promised to the people, and that's how it is. So they don't feel the need to discuss and do the course correction, and I can do very, I can't do any. I can't help in this situation.
But are there any within the party who agree with what you have been saying?
There are many people who agree with me and with what I say, but how many of them would want to talk about it and would want to take a strong line on it about it? I'm not sure about that.
Right, but where does it lead you then, or where does it? I mean, as far as you are still an NC leader, you are a Lok Sabha MP, you are talking about facing isolation within the party. You're yourself saying that the party is, looks at you as an irritant. So what does it mean for you?
I'm focused on, see, I don't want these questions to be repeated, and I have more than this question of what does party think about me and then what do I think about the party. I have responsibilities bigger than that. People of Jammu and Kashmir entrusted me with a mandate. I'm talking about me as an individual in my own elections to talk about the political agenda of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Talk about the disempowerment of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, talk about the constitutional guarantees and the protections that we had. And they entrusted me and mandated me to make ways for opening the discourse and dialogue and path ultimately for the return of the protections that we lost. So as long as I think that I'm able to deliver upon that, whatever way and by whatever mean, I would be able to deliver upon that. I will focus on that. These things will not distract my focus. There may be certain questions which will come up ultimately in terms of my relationship with the party. I'll answer those questions.
But you're with the party.
At the particular time. I'm doing my services to the people of Jammu and Kashmir in the capacity that they entrusted me with.
No, but you are a member of the NC.
I'm a member of the Jammu and Kashmir National Conference for the moment.
You've also been very vocal about prohibition, liquor ban in Jammu and Kashmir. If I'm correct, you had even introduced a private member's bill. Yes. A lot of people say that, one should have one should be able to decide whether they want to drink or not drink. Right. This entire culture of banning everything should not be there.
Oh, well, does that hold true to the beef as well in this country? So these standards should then equally apply everywhere. And I believe in the right to choose what an individual wants to choose for him or herself. And that's how Kashmir has been. So, and that's what we respected always. We do not have a problem with anyone who wants to consume alcohol. Who comes to Kashmir, comes as a tourist, consumes as alcohol as an individual. I do not have a problem with that. But that always happened in a confined atmosphere. They would drink, consume alcohol in their hotel rooms. But what we saw for the last 3-4 years, there was an open consumption of alcohol on streets, in public places, on tourist places, as was reported also by mainstream media as well. And that's not welcome in any society, not in particular to Jammu and Kashmir. So if it was not pushed to that extent, and if that respect of choice and respect for culture and the sensitivities of the place was held by everyone as it was held in the past, no one would have asked for that ban. So those were the reasons, and those were the situations I asked for the ban. And you reminded me about this ban. This another ironic thing. I tried for it in the parliament. My bill was not tabled. Soon after that, we had this assembly election in Jammu and Kashmir. I was expecting that after, if we form the government, my party would be aligned in what I think, and it would be easier for my party in the assembly to introduce this law. But unfortunately, my party didn't do enough on this. There's no movement about bringing a law for the ban on alcohol. So these are the instances or kind of issues that we promised to the people and we have not delivered upon, and I have problems with.
And you've also been raising the issue of young Kashmiris languishing in jails under trials. Is there some on that, as at least, is there some sort of you and the CM are on the same page?
I would have expected him to visit the Prime Minister's office, the Home Minister's office again and again, individually, collectively, taking his MLAs, ministers, taking the parents of those who are imprisoned, at least imprisoned without trials, at least the parents of those. But there is no effort on that account. I don't see that seriousness. I mean, at least the Chief Minister could have taken that responsibility of those helpless parents whose children are held in jails without trials, and that too for 6 years. He could have given them protection, institutional protection, could have taken their responsibility, could have given them that fatherly role or patronage, could have worked for their cause and worked tirelessly. I don't see much happening on that account. I met the Home Minister for this very reason. There has been no response from him. I spoke about it in the parliament at least more than a couple of times. There has been no response about it. But where I feel helpless is that I, as an individual, do make efforts for this. After the assembly elections, I felt that we'll have an institutional force who will multiply the force and the efforts, and that's not happening. The Chief Minister, after all, is in a constitutional position. He championing a cause makes more effect for that cause, and all of us collectively making efforts for that cause would yield more results. But I don't see any practical, activity happening on that account.
Right. But as you pointed out that you will continue to make efforts as far as your Lok Sabha constituency is concerned, anything specific that you are working on?
I am working on, apart from all these issues, I'm working on the health sector. I have talked with the Union Health Minister about the strengthening of the medical facilities in all district hospitals of my constituency. I'm talking about, I'm working on the connectivity in terms of road building. I'm working with or talking at least with the Ministry of Highways. I have proposed a few highways, or the ring roads as they call it, for the connectivity of my constituency, from Pulwama to Ganderbal, and including Badgam and other areas. I have given them more new projects. I have submitted projects for sports infrastructure, a good sports infrastructure, which will help to upgrade the infrastructure in most of the localities that we can do. And as a result of that, we may provide the opportunities and facilities to the students, sportsmen, young generation, so that they can shape their future in this regard. In terms of my MP lads, I have made that open, where I have spent my MP lad in the last year, and this year I intend to spend that at more centralized education institutions or health institutions, where they can serve vast number of people. these are the sectors, and more than these, we have been
Right.
working upon.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Mehdi. This is Neelam Pandey reporting with Anisha from New Delhi.